In this video, we're going to get clear on the exact steps you need to take to finally start your Airbnb business. I'm Dave and my company welcomes over 18,000 guests per year across 75 properties right here in Belfast. But I remember just what it was like when I was starting out. Exciting, but also terrifying.
Nervous, happy, scared, excited.
Now, I recently asked you guys what was the biggest thing that was holding you back from starting your Airbnb business, and so many of you said fear and uncertainty. So that's why I'm making this video. No more fear, no more confusion, no more excuses.
No excuses. I repeat, no excuses.
So step one is you've got to start taking action. Yes, watching videos like this or reading books like this are useful, but they can also be a form of procrastination, and weeks and months can go by and you haven't taken any steps forward. Now, obviously I want you to subscribe to this video and to keep watching them, but don't just do that. Be biased towards action about actually moving the needle forward. So spend some time researching potential areas, streets, buildings, towns and cities that you could set up your Airbnb in. Now, there's a long way that's free to do that, where you can dive in and just spend hours and hours getting right into the nitty gritty of different listings in different areas. Or there's a quick way, which does cost a little bit of money, but I think at this point you're trying to invest money to save time and get you moving forward. And that quick way is using a platform like Airbnb, and I'm going to show you exactly what it's like if you haven't took the jump yet and spent the money. Here we go. So when you log into Airbnb, this is what you see. So it knows I'm in the UK, so it's showing me the main UK market. Now I want to delve deeper in specifically Belfast, because that's my area. Now, once we click into Belfast, these are the stats that we see. Now, it's important to note that there are 5 submarkets here within Belfast. So these are the surrounding areas, and we're going to talk about a bit more about that in a minute. But you can see the average score for Belfast is 56. The annual revenue for these places, it shows the occupancy rate, the average daily rate, and the RevPAR. You can go into so much more detail, but I want to go specifically in because I want to talk about the submarkets that we can go to. I'm always talking about how location is the most important thing, and it's played out here in these actual stats. If you look at Belfast city centre, the average revenue potential is 37.3 thousand. Once you start to go to the northwest of Belfast, the southeast, that goes down. Everywhere is less than the city centre, and that's because tourists want to be close to the action, corporate want to be close to the places that they're working in, and that is in the city centre. So now all of a sudden, once we clicked into the city centre, you can see that the average score jumps up way higher, up to 74%. This is out of 100, and that's broken down by demand, the revenue growth, seasonality, and the regulation. This is going to be so useful for you in your area. Maybe you'll have a city centre near where you are. Maybe you'll have a choice of 4 or 5 different places within your town or city that you want to go on and compare, and this just gives you all the data. It is worth every penny, and it's actually not that expensive. So to show you a bit more here, these are the stats that it's going to show. It shows how many properties are available of each type. So 52% of the properties in Belfast are 2 bedrooms. But crucially, if I go for a 3 bedroom or a 4 bedroom or a 5 bedroom, look at how few competition there is. So the demand is there for those, but the supply is not. That's a cool thing that you can glean from this Airbnb. It shows you like how much availability people are offering. It shows you what the cancellation policies are that people are offering, what the minimum nightly stay is. So there's some lovely crazy people here just doing 1 night. I would always say 2 or more. Ours is set to 3 night minimum, and then it's showing you all the amenities that the listings have. This is a really good graph for showing you seasonality and how the demand goes up and down. Like I always say, it's down in the winter and up in the summer, and it shows you trends for the future as well. Like there's so much stuff in here. Like I think for Belfast it's like 30 quid per month, so you can go in, spend a full month in here getting all the information that you need, all the research that you need, and then just cancel a subscription, and that's all you've paid. But the real beauty here is when you can actually zoom in to the other listings. It will show you what listings are earning in your area. So here's right into the city centre. I always talk about, if you're looking where is the best location on a map, wherever the word is on Google Maps, you want to be as close to the name of the city on Google Maps as possible. So here you can see Belfast, and oh look, one of our apartments. So straight away it's showing you what our average revenue is for that year, what the occupancy is, and even what our daily rate is. Like, it's insane how I can just pull all this together. It's going to save you hours, if not days and weeks of research yourself. I've shown you what's possible in Airbnb, but let me just tell you why exactly that step is so important, especially if you don't have a property yet. The research and the knowledge that you're going to gain from doing that piece of work of looking at the different areas, looking at the different streets and buildings, or even different towns, could be the difference between you having a business that's a flying money-making machine and a business that barely breaks even. You're literally going to be able to use the Airbnb figures to find the best property, the best street, the best type of property, the best size that's going to make you the most money. Now, when I asked, and most of you said fear and uncertainty was what was holding you back. When I then asked, what are you most scared of? Most of you said it's not making enough money once you get the property. This is how you solve that fear and uncertainty. You will know what is possible with the property before you even buy it. But honestly, this is a valid concern because with rents higher than they've ever been before and with demand for poor properties because of such high supply, there is a chance that with some properties it would be better off as a long-term rental than a short-term rental. So it's up to you to dive in deep, to do that research, to satisfy yourself with real numbers, with real data, so that you're informed and can make the next step forward. And the next step forward, step 2, is to get those damn keys. Now, if you're buying a property, I'm not here to advise you about the type of mortgage to get. You need to speak to an accountant, financial advisor. Everyone's circumstances are different. But if you are getting one, it is the best way is to buy one. You've got full control over it. No one's going to tell you what to do, but it also costs the most. And the chances are it'll also be quite an expensive purchase as well, because if it's in a great location, if it's a good size that's going to accommodate lots of guests, if it's in a highly desirable area, then that costs money. But it is worth every penny because you know, you've just done the research. Look at the bad areas of town where the properties are cheap, but look at how much the return is. Look at the properties that are expensive. Look at what the return is there. There's a reason why it's expensive. And maybe you're not buying it. Maybe you're going to do a rent to SA or an Airbnb arbitrage. Well, now you know the streets and the areas to look for so that when properties come up for rent, you can contact those owners. And it's super important that you've done that research, because if a property comes up for rent in an area that you haven't researched, but you could find out, but you haven't found out that it's in a bad area where the return is going to be low, if you're committing to a 5-year lease on that property with a high rent because that property owner doesn't really want to give it to you, you're opening yourself up to big trouble, to a loss-making venture. It's going to be a disaster. And the third way, which I always talk about, it's the way I've scaled my business, is to do co-hosting or to manage the property on a property owner's behalf. You've got skin in the game. They know that you're winning and losing together. They pay the running costs, they pay the refurb costs. It's such an easier way to grow a business. Now, when you're in step 1 and step 2, your entire world will be consumed with getting the property. You will think of nothing else other than the mortgage, searching for it, looking for new ones that have come on, dealing with the property owner to try and convince them to give you it. It will be all consuming. But one day, someone's gonna say, okay, here's the keys, let's go.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
And then you're like, oh shit. Now this is real. You're gonna feel a real sense of accomplishment, like, yes, we've done it. But then you're like, oh, right, okay, I've got to actually furnish this place now and like spend tons of money to get it ready for guests. And that's another huge thing that's gonna become all encompassing. It's gonna take over your life. You're gonna think of nothing else other than getting this place ready. Now the key here is to have those listings that you've researched in your area saved so that you can go back and look at the standard that they are. Now it's important to know what they look like so that you can make yours look even better. Don't go in just trying to be the same, because what's gonna happen is you'll just blend into the mediocrity. You want to go in and absolutely smash it. Make your place the coolest, best, most desirable place in that street. Don't go for bog standard or budget. And actually on that, budget might not mean what you think it means. Budget does not mean cheap and nasty. Budget means clean, but minimalist and sparse, but everything is like new and nice. It just doesn't have all the frills and bells and whistles that some of the high-end or luxury places do. So it doesn't mean you go and get a shitty second-hand sofa. It doesn't mean you leave a 15-year-old kitchen and bathroom in there. That is not budget, that is just poor. Budget is easy to do in hotels when you literally just have a room and a bathroom. It's very easy to kit out like 100 rooms in a budget hotel to be nice, clean, modern, new, but cheap. But it's very difficult in an apartment or a house because you've just got so much more stuff that you need to cram in. And also on that, I want to go on another tangent here. You know, if people talking about they want to go high-end luxury, you know, those are not the same things. High-end is very nice. Luxury is a whole nother level altogether. I would recommend don't call your place luxury unless it actually is. I'm talking unless you've had like hand woven curtains from Egyptian pharaoh or something, like the best stuff the world can get. That's when you can call it luxury. But even at that, the type of guests that are gonna come and stay in your luxury place, yes, they're gonna pay a lot of money, but they're gonna have super high expectations. So in my opinion, high end is a good sweet spot. It's not as much problems as luxury, but it's a hell of a lot higher rates than budget. Now when it comes to designing the place, unless you're a professional, try and get some inspiration from an interior designer. Don't just cobble bits and pieces together. Try and have a theme. Try and push the boundaries. Try and make it stand out, but in a nice way, not in some like crude, weird thing that you've just stuck a load of stuff together to make it bold. Like, try and have a plan here so that it's like desirable whenever people are looking at it online. In terms of furniture, don't do IKEA. Everyone has done it to death. If you look at the listings around your area, so many of them are just going to be like IKEA showrooms. There are better options. Think about Amazon. Think about specialist specialist furniture websites that you can just get something different but very high quality as well. When you're refurbing it, think about the amount of beds you're going to put in. You have to decide whether you're going to go for single beds, double beds, kings. It is important considerations. Make sure they're damn comfy whatever you go for. Another consideration is if you're sleeping 6 people in this property, make sure you have enough comfortable seating in your living room or sitting room for 6 people. Make sure you have 6 dining chairs at the table. It's easy to think, I have enough space to fit 6 people in the bedrooms, but if they can't easily fit in a kitchen or living room, then it's going to get marked down in reviews. Now, there are so many things that you can do to just make your property stand out. I can't go through them all here, but it is about the general design. Look at Pinterest, look at other properties on Airbnb that you think, wow, that is amazing, I can borrow that in our place. Don't just go for grey walls, don't just go for magnolia. It has to stand out or it won't get booked. Step 4, and this is one of the things that I think frustrates me the most when I'm looking on Airbnb or whatever else, people at my competition or people I work with profiles. Don't take your damn photos on your phone. Why would you spend all that time, all that money, 40k potentially buying a property, maybe another 20k in refurbing it and furnishing it, all that money, all that time, all that blood, sweat and tears, and then when you're ready to present it to the world, you take the photos on your Nokia 3310. Like, what a terrible disservice you've just done to your property and your business. Spending an extra 150 to a couple of £100 to get a professional in who has the right gear, the right lighting, the right experience to know the angles and everything. Like, what an investment that is. Over the course of the photo's lifetime, say 3 or 4 years, you could get tens of thousands of pounds worth of bookings simply because of those photos. When people are scrolling on Airbnb, they're just covered in search results and they just have to split second to just make a decision whether something's worth looking into further, clicking into the listing, or to just scroll on by. And if no one clicks, no one's booking. You need those photos to stop the scroll, to showcase your amazing property, and to get someone to actually click in and book. Now, step 5 is, once you've got the property, once you've renovated it, once you've got the photos, you're ready to rock and roll and you're ready to set up that Airbnb listing. It's getting serious. The beauty of Airbnb is it is so super easy to get set up on that platform. I'd say in about 10 minutes, you can go from having created a profile to having a profile live. It's very straightforward, but it's also very basic. And if you follow this channel, you'll know I always recommend very strongly that you do not just rely on Airbnb and that you get your property on all the different platforms you can find. You're going to get access to far more guests, millions of people who just never use Airbnb, platforms like Vrbo and Expedia. But for me, the king is Booking.com. Each have their pros and cons. While Airbnb is very basic, that means it's also very easy, whereas Booking.com is very complex, but it also means you can fiddle about and put on so much different functionality. Okay, so here's the back end of Booking.com, or what they call the extranet for one of our properties. It is far more complicated and complex, but therefore it gives you far more functionality than Airbnb. There are so many buttons here, so many tabs, so many things that you can click to try and bump up your listing, to try and give discounts, to try and just make things better for us as hosts. This platform was originally built for hotels, and think of all the functionality that they need. They're professionals. They're not just like someone with a side hustle trying to like rent out their second bedroom in their house like Airbnb started with. So I just want to go through some of these tabs and just show you everything that you can do on Booking.com, and hopefully you can hear me because there's someone right outside the window with a damn leaf blower. So you can set up tons of different rate plans. You can optimize your availability. It knows when like key dates are. You can add in separate country rates. So if we want to give discounts for lovely people from the US or Canada or Australia, we can do that to make it more desirable for them. You can add all sorts of promotions. Now Booking.com are heavy on promotions. You can't really do this with Airbnb. Booking.com really want you to do this because why? Surprise, surprise, it makes your listing on their platform cheaper than Airbnb's or any of the others. So guest book through Booking.com. And there's so many things that you can do for your property page. You can add so many bits and pieces. You can set up your policies, you can set up child rates, all these things. There's so much functionality on this. So this boost performance tab, you could basically rename give more money to Booking.com tab. So all of these things will get you more bookings, but it comes at your expense. Basically, you're either paying Booking.com more money or you're giving a discount to their guests. And the analytics dashboard is really useful here as well. So it shows all the figures that you've had, obviously just through Booking.com, shows you the demand, the cancellations, your rates. There's a lot in there. Now, this is a lot to get your head around, and I'm not saying that you should be doing this, getting listed on every booking site before you get started on Airbnb. Now, that can be overwhelming, and I'm definitely not suggesting that from day one, you need to be on every booking site going. The first step, get your property listed on Airbnb, set it live, and then here we go to the next step. So step 6 is actually the guests. So you overcome the huge challenge of actually getting a property. Then you've gone through and you've been completely obsessed with getting the property ready. And it's so easy to forget. And almost every person I speak to who's getting this property set up for Airbnb literally forgets that there's actual guests going to be coming once it's ready. It's not that you forget it, but you've just got no headspace. You're just fully focused on getting the place finished. But once you set it live, bookings are going to come in pretty damn quick. So you've got to be ready for those guests. One tip that I definitely recommend is that before you let anyone else stay in it, you stay in it yourself. If you've put new bathrooms, new kitchen into this place, it needs tested properly. So stay in it for a night, a couple of nights, use the shower, use the kitchen, use the heating, use the Wi-Fi, and just make sure everything works. Because when those first set of guests come, you need a 5-star review. So you can't have any teething problems. Everything needs to be tried and tested. And it's just going to give you a better feel for the place. Like, what will guests experience when they're there? Will it be really noisy at night or in the morning? Are you going to be able to go out and have a lovely breakfast in the first morning that you've stayed there? Because if you don't enjoy it, someone who's paid you a lot of money is definitely not going to enjoy it. But after that, real people are coming. They are going to spend a lot of money there, and it's going to get crazy really quick. And my advice would be just dive in, learn on the job, read this book, watch this channel. So make sure you subscribe. But honestly, when you're just getting started, no matter what you've read, no matter what you've watched, stuff's gonna go wrong. And that's okay. Be kind to yourself. These are mistakes that everyone makes. The main thing is that you're gonna learn from them. And you're gonna learn so much faster than you did from watching videos or reading books. Now, some of these mistakes are gonna cost you money. You're gonna let in partiers by mistake. People are gonna damage that really expensive table or spill wine on that really expensive bed sheet that you put on. Things will go wrong. I've actually got a video called The Dark Side of Airbnb Hosting, which you can go and watch after this one and after you've subscribed, of course. But the main thing is you've got going, and that is amazing. You're in business. People are coming through the door, they're paying you money, they're hopefully very happy. But now once you've got going, you're going to need to get good. You're going to need to think hard about policies that you're going to offer, house rules that you're going to implement, rate pricing strategies, what other booking sites you're going to get on, channel manager, all these things that once you're running the business, you're going to start finding things, oh, that didn't really work. Put a system in place for that. And that brings us on to step number 7, which is to systemize the out of this. And this is when you get smart. You need to get as many of these tasks off your plate as possible. This won't happen overnight or on day one, but the absolute first thing you need to do is set up some sort of rate pricing software. I feel like I talk about it in almost every video, but this is the key that's going to unlock your property's full financial potential. Having this live from day one means that you don't have to go on the headache learning curve of adjusting rates, setting up minimum stays, discounts for longer stays. All of this just gets done by the algorithm. It lowers your prices to the competitive rate whenever periods are in low demand, and it maximizes it to the highest rates possible that you will never even think is possible in periods of high demand. Quite simply, you've got to do it. If you don't use a rate pricing software like Price Labs, you're a silly host and you should stop watching this channel. The rest of the things you need to systemize can come later. They can take time to bed in. It's good for you to be hands-on, knee-deep in all the crap that's coming at you so that you can see, okay, these are things that I don't like doing and I need someone else to do it for me. It could be guest communication. It could be the cleaning itself. It could be maintenance issues. There's so many things, so many plates to spin in this business that you'll need to do yourself at the start, but then once you've realized you don't like them and they take too long and it interrupts your family time, get someone else to do it. Get an algorithm or someone on Upwork or Fiverr or People Per Hour or tech. There's so many platforms out there to help us hosts. Now, step 8, which is probably going to come after about 6 months or probably a year, is you got to decide, what are you going to do now? You've been running this property for a while. You've learned a vast amount in a very short space of time. Now, what are you going to do? Are you thinking, holy crap, this is not what I expected? In which case, you don't have to shut up shop. You can give your property to a management company, someone who co-hosts or wants to manage the properties like we talked about at the start. They can take it all off your hands. You have nothing to do and you just pay them a commission. Or maybe you're really enjoying it. This is good. I'm quite good at this. I'm enjoying this, and you want to buy more. Or maybe you've been doing Airbnb arbitrage and you've realized you've caught a really cool little street where you're making a ton of money and you want to get more of them. Or maybe you want to start managing other people's properties and you can go to a property owner and say, look, I've been running mine for a year. I'm pretty damn good at it. Do you want me to run yours? And I'll take a commission. There are so many options of how you can scale this business if you even want to do that. But ask yourself, how many properties would you need to leave full-time work? How many properties would you need to have a life that you've always wanted? It is possible, but it all starts with the first step, and that is to hit subscribe. No, I'm joking. Now, the next video you need to watch is this one, where I go so much deeper on everything about the actual running of the business, and I just give you all of my 17 years of experience in this very short 40-minute video. See you next time.